Well, maybe you should ask yourself, should it be made? Well, we've been getting a lot of reboots, remakes, and I hate really a lot of these things. I keep telling you this, I keep harking on this. Hollywood is totally dead because basically they're ashes because they literally just want to change things around. They spend money on films that just don't gross. That they make a certain amount of money, but then basically it's just pure garbage. I mean, if I was you, if I'd gone to the movies to see a particular movie and I didn't like it, I would go to the box office, ask for my money back. Maybe that'll teach Hollywood that basically don't make these things, or basically just don't watch these TV series. Say, well, I'll watch the series and maybe it might be good. No, in this political atmosphere, I always keep saying, movies can be made, TV series can be made, but some things should be left alone. And you can't, you might break around twice as gold, but you're not going to come around again and say you think you're going to make it good again. And that's why I have my doubts on the Dune movie as well. I mean, it's been done several times already. How many more times are you going to go to the well with this? You're not going to get that much out of the well from the same, IP all the time.
Oh, it's true. It's true. It's true. It's true.
And then what you're going to do is you're going to piss off the people in the estates, who own these IPs, just like this. This is coming out of Deadline. Buck Rodgers' estate blasts off against Legendary over George Clooney TV reboot. Company says it secured the rights we need. There's a battle going on right now between two major companies over the IPs of the Buck Rodgers estate. Now, if you've been under a rock, Buck Rodgers, which basically has been an iconic comic book, serial series and TV series for many, many years on there. The last one, which basically had Gil Gerard, which was very good. The last season, it wasn't so great. I knew one of the actors in there, Tom Christopher, who played Hawk on the last series. Very good actor on there. Famous soap opera actor. He was on the series, played a Hawkman. The original series, you had Buster Crabbe. He had a part in the newer series with Gil Gerard, where he played a pilot in the series on there, and it was a bit of a, I've been around for a long time, It's it's kind of a good toss to each other in there. It's a good rip and play on that one. But reading into this, and this is through Deadline, a growing dust-up over the classic outer space hero Buck Rodgers isn't a fight over rights, and it won't be warming up to become one if Legendary Entertainment has anything to say about it. The Buck Rodgers estate, overseen by the Nolan Family Trust, on Tuesday fired off a cease and desist letter to Legendary about its recent announcement that it will be developing a TV reboot of the popular sci-fi property. George Clooney and his Smokehouse partner, Grant Heslov, are set to executive produce Legendary's Buck Rodgers project, with a script by Brian K. Vaughan and Angry Films' Don Murphy and Susan Montfort also producing. In the brief letter sent out by email and snail mail to Michael Ross, Legendary Entertainment's EVP Business Affairs, the estate contains that Buck Rodgers' interests have been already penned by David Ellison's Skydance Productions to exploit the property. Be advised that Buck Rodgers' interests have signed on the agreement with Skydance Productions LLC to produce Buck Rodgers content, says the attorney Neville Johnson in the letter. Your conduct is a slander of the title of the rights of Buck Rodgers' interest alone. The sharp-elbowed Beverly Hills lawyer continued, demand is made that you correct the record publicity as Legendary/Murphy has no chain of title. You are to direct to advise all third parties, including any insurers, distributors, and financiers, that there is no chain title held by Legendary/Murphy. We note that the litigious Mr. Murphy has lost every legal maneuver he has so far attempted to the shot across the bow. Correspondence added, if the slay against the veteran producer was intended to be in regards to any Buck Rodgers project, it should be stated that the previous Buck Rodgers rights action that involved Murphy as the defendant was dismissed in 2019. Still harsh words, but of course, a cease and desist letter does not mean much unless you're willing to back it up with an actual lawsuit. In a Byzantine universe of older properties and their rights and owners, such legal actions can become long, messy, and an expensive affair. A fact Legendary made sure to note to Deadline. Interesting on that. We have secured the rights we need to proceed with our project, and the company will not commit to any further on these basis claims, a spokesman for Legendary said this evening. This same party has been claiming for years they have the rights which they do not have, and have been trying to inhibit the project based on the rights they legally control. Having said that, the Attorney Johnson is no stranger to fighting studios and producers in the dark, deep trenches of accounting, royalties, and rights, and should never be considered less serious for his clients. Johnson's co-rep director Colin Higgins' estate in its suit against Universal for unpaid home video royalties, with the plaintiff getting $26 million in settlement in 2015. Johnson also repped the Sylvester Stallone in his suit against Warner in the studio's refusal to pay him royalties on 1993's Demolition Man. Creator Philip Francis Nolan in 1928 for the pulp magazine Amazing Stories. The character that became Buck Rodgers morphed over a decade into the comic strip, a radio show, a 1993 serial from the Universal and TV series on ABC from 1950 to 1951. The character was revived in 1979 for the flick Buck Rodgers in the 25th Century, which subsequently primetime NBC series also starred Gil Gerard and Aaron Gray. Now, reading straight across the internet on this, it's very confusing because the way the internet is. Does the Nolan family trust have the rights for it? Yes and no, but it depends on what legal papers that they have as far as that. Now, obviously, if Legendary has a right to do this, they can go forward and do this. But if they don't, because this is not the first time this come up. I believe like 2016, 2017, they tried this before. And then I guess it was dismissed in 2019. And then again, now they're trying to hash up again. And I guess the Nolan family has gotten a new legal counsel for this. And basically, we're back at square one again. Now, for me, I really don't want to see another Buck Rodgers TV series. I'm okay with the Gil Gerard. I'm okay with the Buster Crabbe stuff. If anything, if you truly want to bring it back to television, and they've done some remastering of the original black and white Buck Rodgers serials, work on those, fix those up, fix the audio, fix the video, those on that, spend the money on that, bring those back out again. People will look at those. We're in a situation, even fix the 1979 ones. Because I know there are issues with the 79 one. Because basically a lot of these TV series that have been remastered, put back on, they didn't spend the money to properly do it. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is the perfect example of what could go wrong when you don't spend the money on the remastering it properly. How horrible the disc units are for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Spend the money on the IP. And you like say, well, it won't be popular. Yes, it will. This is a channel that talks about MeTV a lot. IPs like the old Buster Crab TV series and many others are starting to get a new light. Old TV series are becoming more and more popular, especially during this pandemic. People are sticking to channels like MeTV, Movies, Heroes and Icons, many other channels that brings programming like this on a daily basis. We just said in another video, the Jetsons are coming back to television. The original first season of the Jetsons is coming to MeTV because people were asking for it. Why not spend the money, go through and say, hey, listen, let's fix up what the original was and bring it forward. Why do another series? Legendary, you've done a lot of stuff right now. And you should know better now than you're dealing with Warner right now with the Godzilla IP right now. What happened with that? You don't think that's going to happen with this? You don't think that you're going to go through the same issues as far as the legalities afterwards for streaming rights for this series? You know, spend the time and go ahead and just get the rights to fix the old stuff. That's the best thing to do. You know, that was one of the, and I bring it up on the Batman animated series, The Gray Ghost. If you remember that series, there was time, there was a realization, if you didn't realize in the series itself, in that episode, the Gray Ghost TV series wasn't available on video anywhere. Nobody, it was always the Masters. The only one who had the Masters was the guy who played the Gray Ghost. At the end of the story, what happened? They put it on video and released it, and people flocked. Now, that's a cartoon, but guess what? That's what's going to happen with this. People are going to want to see this. People who are adults now, grandparents who are familiar with this, they're going to show their grandkids this series. Parents who their parents showed this series are going to show their kids these series. These were good series. As crazy as the Buster Crab stuff is, we could do video upon video on episode to episode on how crazy those episodes were. They were still good for that era. The 1979, the same thing. In fact, the Buck Rodgers series is running currently on MeTV. So that should tell you right there. Is there a popularity for Buck Rodgers? Yes. Does it take for a new series or movie to be done? No. So if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, share, comment below, and we'll be seeing you next time.